Be the change you wish to see in the world, said Gandhi. My brother has that tattoo on his leg. What's going on, everyone? So I just was thinking, and after the CFTC thing came out, which is expected, it's at what point does this shit end? When are these people going to be held responsible for the decisions they made? The problem, as been repeated in history many times over, is that when it comes down to the wire and transparency is demanded, they run to the regulators behind closed doors and say that, look, the whole system is going to fall apart if this happens because our decision making has been so shit, and we've been funding, instead of goods and services for the country, or commodities, or putting their money where it could actually matter, they've been using it to grow risk for their own personal agenda and profit. So yeah, let's look at a tactical approach here. So banks would like to keep running around and hiding from reporting. Why? Because they're absolutely screwed if it's ever known the depth of their bad decisions that have affected many Americans for the last several decades. So I have a question. Why use them? If you're going to run from regulatory requirements and reporting requirements and cry out for help every time you know you're screwed, basically, me personally, I'll no longer be in need of your services because, number one, I don't think they're needed in general. It's all a facade. And if we all stopped using them, they would be effed. And they know this. So may you burn with your corrupt regulators. CFTC, go F yourself. Gary Gensler, go drink some milk. So this is just a few examples of how banks F you. They lobby for regulatory barriers using taxpayer money, making it harder to regulate them. They fund wars using taxpayer money on both sides. They get bailed out by the Fed and government every time they're caught making bad decisions. They influence macroeconomic and political decision-making, again, through lobbying and through personal relationships by way of power, getting involved in the government and political sector, things like that. They use your own money against you in the stock market, as we've all noticed and witnessed this year. They shy from reporting requirements when transparency is called on by running and crying again to the regulators saying, no, we need relief because we're effed. Don't use the profit to invest in society. They only use it to create more risk amongst themselves for their own personal agenda. They have gotten themselves so deep that any legitimate regulation would destroy their whole facade and their whole system would come to a screeching halt, which we don't need anyway. The simple solution. This is an excerpt from an article that I'll link in the description. It says, from there, life as an unbanked prepaid card user is pretty straightforward. Lawton uses the card for all of his regular bills, and it works just like any other debit card at retail stores and online. Some cards charge fees to add money to the balance or make certain purchases, but he's been able to identify the cards that strike a good balance between the service he needs and the fees he's willing to pay. It's a setup, he says, that works well for his unique income schedule, and he can't imagine ever going back to a regular bank. Lance Roy, a warehouse associate with Amazon in Florida, tells a similar story and has had his salary paid directly to a prepaid card for years. He now pays almost all of his bills via mobile apps, using his prepaid card to get money orders at the grocery store anytime he needs a physical payment, such as for his rent. For him, the prepaid route has helped him better keep his finances on track and recover from some earlier money mistakes. So this could be a good thing to get you more, attentivized to your funds. So keep that in mind too. It could be, he said that his debit card acts as a de facto budgeting tool, forcing him to pay attention to his spending and preventing him from getting in over his head. Like the banks are all in right now. They're in over their heads. And they can't be held accountable because the whole thing would become crashing down. I am all for someone who has been in a financial crisis with their former checking accounts and budgeting to utilize payroll debit cards, he says. And most employee debit cards do not charge fees like the prepaid cards purchased at a cash register in a store. It can work well. There's other options too, other than a prepaid card. You have your credit union, which oftentimes will use any profits made, or they're a nonprofit. So again, they don't have a nefarious agenda under the table that they never tell you about and then shy away from reporting about when asked to. There's also, cash. You can get a vault or a safe, load money as you need to pay bills. The main point is you having control over your money, not the banks who are going to do God knows what with it and create all kinds of problems that will end up costing you more money in the long run. Of course, this is not financial advice. Obviously, this decision is your own. Again, banks use our money for their own agenda and then don't even report on it when asked. It's time we demand responsibility, and maybe by doing that, we boycott their services altogether. They wouldn't exist without us, and it's time to wake up to that fact. The game is showing how useless they really are. Boycott the banks. Let's do it. Individually. Not financial advice. I am a retard.